Welcome back to another Teen Book Babble. I'm Haley, and today I'm going to be talking about DPS Only, written and illustrated by Velinxi. DPS Only started as a webcomic on Tapas in 2020 and was made into a physical graphic novel because of its popularity. The story is about Vicky Tan and her journey into the professional esports scene. Vicky plays the online game Zenith Orion as a DPS player and is ranked number 67 in America. Except no one knows that she plays because she plays secretly under the alias Aegis. She even uses a voice changer when she plays at home, so people won't be toxic to her just because she's a girl. Vicky's older brother Virgil, though, is one of the most popular Zenith Orion players and is currently ranked number 9 in North America. He is a big-time streamer, and Vicky is basically living in his shadow. She's a moderator for all his streams, helps run his social media, and even acts as his manager, all while feeling like she doesn't have a voice around him. Virgil thinks he's the best big brother, and he's certainly trying to be, but he does what he thinks is best for Vicky and doesn't actually ask her what she wants or what she likes. Even for small things like dinner, he insists that they get her favorite food, when in actuality, it's something she really, really hates. She'll try to talk to him, to tell him things, but she's constantly talked over or interrupted by him. So when it comes to Zenith Orion, Vicky feels like she can't tell Virgil that she plays, and has been for several years now. There's also the fact that Virgil doesn't think girls should really play video games, and if they do, they should stick to support. So the fact that they main the same DPS character makes Vicky even more afraid to tell him. Things change when Zenith Orion hosts a wider tryout to participate in their major competition to give smaller, lesser-known teams a chance to play. Vicky ends up joining a team with a pretty interesting group. They learn how to work together, and they even help Vicky hide her identity at all of the in-person tournaments. Ultimately, they want to make it far enough to win the entire competition, but that means eventually going against Virgil's amazing team. Will the newly formed team be able to beat Virgil, and will Vicky ever tell him the truth about everything? You'll have to read DPS Only to find out. Reading this graphic novel felt like watching a sports anime, which was something I absolutely loved about it. Vicky's self-doubt and anxiety felt so real, but so did the excitement and the emotions of her teammates. The art is also so good. So if you're a fan of sports anime, esports, or just like really good art with compelling characters, I definitely recommend DPS Only. DPS Only is available in print at Fountaindale.
Hi, I'm Alex. I'm back with another book babble. This time I'll be talking about Goth Girl, Queen of the Universe by Lindsay Zrull. There isn't anyone quite like Jess at her new school. No one has the polished style or hard outer shell that keeps everyone at a distance. She's a solo, self-made goth queen, and she makes that very clear. She's got every reason to be that way, being in and out of foster care, family after her mother just up and left one day. Now starting off fresh and at a new foster home, she gets reached out online through her social media, where it's practically the only place she gets any positive reinforcement, by herself claiming to be her mother. At some point, she gets propositioned to join a cosplay group for obvious reasons, because, look at her, with the aim to compete and go into big-time competition in cosplay world. Maybe this is her chance to find her mother without social services getting involved? All right, so for obvious reasons, I absolutely just adore this book. Every part of the witty character, you are at all times always on her side, and Jess cannot do anything wrong unless she is being mean to Oscar, her very nerdy, very timid cosplay friend. The guy who gets her into this cosplay group and pretty much is the crux for her being able to go to New York and try and find her mother without social services knowing about it. She's very witty, she likes to banter, and honestly, you really get to see her more vulnerable side when she's interacting with her, at the time, very supportive foster mother named Barbara. You just love seeing you just love seeing Jess be very, very skeptical of Barbara at all times, and you like seeing her give her foster mother a chance. And so far, I'm absolutely loving it. I think it surprised me with how very adult it can be. Jess doesn't take any hogwash from literally anyone, and at every point you're always on her side. And this can go into surprising detail about very like heavy issues like body image. She at no point wants to have anything to do with this cosplay group if it involves her having to be dressed in a way that she doesn't like. She's very protective of her image because that's all she has right now. But I would 100% recommend this to anyone that has any sort of like interest in this sort of thing, has any like sort of issues with with not having the family that might not be there for you at the moment, because this is 100% a typical found family, and I'm sure she has to decide between one or the both, because often it's not that easy. You can find Goth Girl Queen of the Universe at Fountaindale in print in the Vortex or as an e-audiobook on Libby.
Hi everyone, my name is Andrea Marshall. I am a teen services specialist here at Fountaindale Public Library District, and today I wanted to talk to you about a very special book. It is called Hamra and the Jungle of Memories by Hanna Alkaf. So this book is a mix of well-known fairy tales such as Little Riding Hood and Malaysian fairy tales. So this book takes place in Malaysia, and the main character is a 13-year-old girl named Hamra. And while she is living near the jungle, she must follow 3 simple rules. So 1, she must always ask for permission before entering the jungle. 2, she must never take what isn't hers. And 3, she must never say her name aloud. But one day she forgets these rules and she steals a jamba juice fruit from the jungle. But the only problem is that it belongs to a tiger named Pak Belong, who demands justice for his stolen goods. And to make amends, Hamra and Pak Belong strike a deal where Hamra will help the tiger transform into a human. And once the tiger is transformed, he will cure Hamra's grandmother of dementia. From there, Pak Belong, Hamra, and her best friend Ilyas will embark on a journey that takes them all over the magical and the human world. So if you want to check this out, you can find it in the Teen Vortex or in the children's section. You can also find an ebook on Access 360 as well. So one of the reasons I really love this book is because of the references to Little Red Riding Hood. So for example, Hamra owns a red hijab, and because of that, her nickname is Little Red. And you can actually see that here on the cover. I also really enjoyed it because it takes place during the COVID-19 pandemic. So some people may not like this, but I really liked it and I thought it was refreshing just because a lot of TV shows, movies, and books will usually glaze over or skip the COVID-19 pandemic altogether. But I think it's really important that this time period be reflected in kids' fiction. And finally, I really enjoyed this book because of the representation and the culture. So, for example, the author Hanna Alkaf is very outspoken about writing books with Malaysian and Muslim characters, just because there are so few books and TV shows and movies with that kind of representation. So I really appreciate how she is carving out a space for her culture. And I thought it was just really fascinating to see how kids around the world live their day-to-day lives. And I also really loved it because of the way that the author incorporates food and culture into the writing. So she writes a lot about how the grandparents and the parents of the main character will cook all this amazing food to show their love for her. And I really appreciated that. Finally, one of my favorite parts about this book was the representation of dementia and Alzheimer's in children's literature. And usually that's not talked about a lot in children's literature. People who have this disease or with loved ones with this disease know that it is very frustrating and confusing and really devastating. So I think that the author captured those emotions really, really well. So if you want to check it out, again, you can find it in the children's section in the Teen Vortex, or you can also check out an ebook on Access 360. So again, the title is Hamra and the Jungle of Memories by Hanna, Alkaf. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.